Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. We've got a short-ish video. It is somebody that we are super familiar with, and that is Orville Thompson, the co-CEO of Scentsy.
You mean the one who thinks that you're a loser?
Yes, that guy.
I managed to find his keynote speech from Scentsy Family Reunion 2025, and that is what we are going to be reacting to. And we're gonna get right the fuck into it, but first, we need the disclaimer.
No telling where we'll be going, but I'm gonna be on it, you know it for sure. Think I might be shouty at the crib. Can't stress by nobody child today. That's why I'm
If you're not familiar with Orville Thompson or with Scentsy, first of all, Orville Thompson is one of the co-founders of Scentsy. He is not actually, in my opinion, a founder of Scentsy. He bought the company off of two women that were at a home show way back in 2004, I believe it was. Anyway, that's beside the point. We are talking about his keynote speech, where that has nothing to do with what we're going to be talking about. If you're not familiar with Scentsy, they are what is known as an MLM, also known as a multi-level marketing company, network marketing company, social selling company, party plan company. Some would even refer to them as a pyramid scheme. And that is because they do run off of a recruitment-based business model. Now, they do also have products that they try to sell to people to, in my opinion, again, get people into their recruitment-based business model and have them all start their own businesses and blah, blah, blah. And those products are scented products. They used to be known as Scentsy Wickless, or the safe alternative to candles. And that is because their first product was a wickless candle. It was a wax warmer that came with a light bulb and a dish that goes on top, and it melts wax and makes your space smell however you want it to smell. They have expanded into different kinds of flameless warmers since then, as well as cleaning products, kids products, all scented products that you could think of they have, including a wicked candle, something that they talked so badly about for many, many years. Now, this is something that was introduced at Scentsy Family Reunion 2025, where Orville's keynote took place. And again, like I said, that is what we're reacting to today. So let's just get right into it. I know it's gonna be gold.
Good evening, my Scentsy family. I love you, and I'm so excited to be here with you. To answer one question, when I was 16, I was too afraid to talk to girls.
Okay.
Once at a sock hop, they wouldn't let us wear shoes in the school gym.
What the hell are we doing here?
I asked a girl if she'd go with me, and she said yes. And then 2 weeks later, she had her friend write me a note and tell me that she was breaking up with me, because in that 2 weeks, I didn't have the courage to ask her or to talk to her again. So at 16, if I would have known that I was going to be surrounded by so many wonderful, powerful women, and that they would actually talk to me, I wouldn't have believed it.
I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying so hard. First of all, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? I'm sure there's some context that had to do with this somewhere in Scentsy Family Reunion, so I'm not going to address the fact that this is weirdly placed, but it is. And also, what the is the point of that story? Why did you include the fact that you couldn't wear shoes in your gym? Where are we going with this?
Does he even know what's happening?
Let's carry on.
Okay, yesterday Heidi shared with you the beautiful pattern of the Fibonacci spiral and connected it to friendship. By making new friends while keeping old, we create something both timeless and ever expanding. That spiral pattern isn't just mathematical poetry. It's the blueprint for how we've navigated every season of our 21-year journey together.
Or is it a spiral to confuse all the consultants to stay in your company/cult, in my opinion?
We can all spiral.
Tonight, I want to revisit 4 foundational concepts from our past keynotes. Not as museum pieces, but as living principles that guide us toward renewal in 2025. Each represents a pillar of wisdom we've built together, and each shows us the path forward. They are timeless lessons reinterpreted for today's challenges. The first pillar is something I have spoken about many times, and it is the foundation of my personal philosophy. Nicole and Jason referred to it. When I was 16, I found a poster with a quote from Albert Einstein. Try not to be a man of success, rather become a man of value. And then this part, a successful man takes more out of life than he puts in, while a man of value will give more than he takes.
Oh, brother, here we go.
It fundamentally changed my perspective and my life. And I've tried to live that principle every day since. When I shared this for the first time, contribute more than you take became a Scentsy motto.
So in saying that, Orville, and making that line between success and value, and saying you wanted to be a valuable man, why didn't you want to also be successful, first of all? Are you saying you're only valuable and not successful? I guess we should just let you keep talking to see how much of a hole you dig yourself. But so far, the forecast is not bright.
So in 2012 at SFR, I gave a talk on contribute more than you take. The idea that our success flows from what we give, not what we receive. This principle distinguished those who built lasting businesses and meaningful lives from those who only focus on themselves. What did it mean then? When Scentsy was young, the spirit of cooperation was legendary. Everyone seemed to strive to live by our contribute more than you take code. Every effort Heidi and I made to help consultants succeed was met by consultants who not only appreciated our efforts, but also built upon it to create better ways of selling and recruiting.
You were all cooperating back then. What happened? Why are you not giving more than you take? Why are you not giving us more of your money than you're taking from us?
First of all, you're not giving them enough anyway, regardless of how much they put into their business. You need the cooperation of the give more than you take so that Scentsy doesn't go under. You need them to give more than they take so that you can financially benefit. Is that what I'm hearing? You got to be careful with the words you use, Orville. Your cooperation is a little culty when you're coming at a room full of women, primarily women, that you just told were powerful. You're now about to tell them that they need to start cooperating again. And what happened to them cooperating back in the day? Why is there no cooperation? That's gross. And it gives us a picture of what cult-like behavior might look like.
Rather than looking cynically at our policies and programs, they embraced them.
So what you're saying is...
They didn't ask any questions.
There was a shared sense of purpose.
Instead of asking questions, they just followed the rules. What are you saying? Sit down, shut up, Orville.
You should quit while you can still do a comb over.
Oops, too late.
And a general feeling of cooperation as we work side by side to help Scentsy grow. Was it perfect? No. But we were together and we were growing in the same direction, and that's what mattered. From time to time, we lose sight of the value of contribute more than you take. Back then, we were beginning our first dip, and with that came a dangerous shift in mindset. Some consultants had moved from gratitude for the opportunity and community that we had at Scentsy to entitlement about what the community and opportunity owed them. They began focusing more on policing others than building their own businesses.
Probably because they were told for many years that this is their business. And because of the MLM awareness and the growing awareness of the anti-MLM community and the content that's being pushed out by all anti-MLM content creators, there's more awareness around this. And maybe the consultants are like,
hey, wait, if we're actually business owners, why don't we have these perks and benefits?
Are you mad because they're asking questions? Because it certainly seems that way in more ways than one.
More on what their sponsors weren't doing than what they were doing to accomplish their goals themselves. Now, the principle was simple.
Not a very lively bunch, though.
Approach every interaction asking, how can I contribute, rather than what can I get? Now, what this means now, in 2025, this principle has become even more critical. As Heidi and Melissa both shared, we only get to choose our response to every challenge. We can choose entitlement, believing that the world owes us success, or we can choose gratitude for the abundance that's available to us. The consultants thriving today are those who ask, how can I serve my customers better? How can I support my team more effectively? How can I contribute to the renewal of our culture? They're not waiting for perfect conditions.
The team thing is a complete moot point to me. Like anytime they say anything about how can I support my team more effectively, you sound like an idiot.
That was harsh.
I'm just saying what's on my mind.
Because each team member is told that they own their own business, so they don't want anybody to be telling them what they should be doing. Maybe they want support and guidance from people who are in similar situations. That's why we find communities that we don't have to pay for, by the way, to attend certain events, converse with people who are in the same area as us, those types of communities. This one you have to pay for. You don't have a team when you own your own business unless you hire a team. And these people were not hired. These people paid to join a team. Make it make sense. When you're telling these people they're business owners, they in fact are not part of a team. They are their own separate entity, making them their own business owner. But because you tell them they're a part of a team, they might not be a business. What are we doing?
This is all spiraling out of control.
Pun intended.
They're creating value in whatever conditions exist. Get in the practice of evaluating your decisions through the lens of entitlement or gratitude. Entitled people take. Grateful people contribute. Ask yourself often, am I contributing more than I take or just taking? Or ask a deeper level question. Right now, to whom am I contributing? And from whom am I taking? Gratitude sees opportunity in every obstacle. Entitlement sees obstacles in every opportunity. Choose gratitude. People will flow to you.
There's just like a book of quotes you read every night.
Essentially, we're listening to a handful of quotes that have been put together by Orville, combined with bullshit.
The second pillar is the code of the campfire. The synopsis: the campfire analogy taught us about the spirit of abundance versus the false belief in scarcity. When we believe there's enough warmth for everyone, we allow more people to join our circle around the campfire. When we believe in scarcity, we block others from sharing in its warmth, ultimately diminishing the fire for all.
Sure, fine. But at some point, you run out of room around the campfire. Is that not accurate? At some point, the campfire is full. At some point, the Scentsy industry is full and it's saturated. And you need to maybe let your customers, your number one customers, which are the consultants, know that this is a highly saturated market at this point. I don't know anybody that doesn't personally know a Scentsy consultant. And even so, if I did, all you have to do is go to Scentsy.com to order. You don't need to physically have a consultant contacting you every 2 days, every 2 weeks, every 2 months. You don't.
It gets annoying after a while, you know?
People don't want to be annoyed by salespeople. And as much as Scentsy consultants say they're sharing, they're selling, making them salespeople. People don't want follow-ups in their inbox knowing in the back of their head that this person has an ulterior motive. They just want my money. They want to take my money so that I can support their business and help them get to their next incentive and help them keep active. No, just stop. But anyway, all of that to say, that's a great analogy, metaphor, whatever it is. Orville. It's great. It's beautiful. Yes, let people in around the fire to help them stay warm. But again, like I said, at some point, the circle around the fire is too big. Just like the Scentsy market is very saturated. It is dripping. It is sopping wet with consultants.
I'm not going to say it.
That's what she said.
God damn it, Sam.
Now, back in 2012, rapid growth had created a fear of saturation. Many consultants began acting as if other consultants were competitors rather than friends. They moved closer to the fire.
Because they literally are. They literally are competition with each other. They are competing for more sales. Is it not the people with the higher sales and the higher recruits get rewarded with incentives and higher pay and bonuses and all of this? Make it make sense. None of this adds up. Yeah, you can be friends and have friendly competition, but they are literally all competing with the same motherfucking product, the same marketing material, the same verbiage. Everything is the same because it has to be in their business. So they are essentially competing with one another to make a sale, to get the next sponsor, to get the next promotion. It's not a level playing field. It's never a level playing field in sales, in any business. If you want to excel and succeed, you have to be competitive. You have to be competitive in anything you do. You don't have to be a nasty bitch to be competitive. You just have to know, like, what am I competing with? Who am I competing with? And if you're not the first thing that you're competing with, that's a whole other issue we need to talk about. But these consultants, just like any other industry, all of that to say, all of those words just to say, are competing with one another.
Blocking others from its warmth. Rather than feeding the fire so it could grow bigger and warmer for everyone. The code of the campfire gave us 5 principles. Feed the fire continuously. Sit in an equal circle. Move back as the fire grows to make room for others. Trust in the abundance of wood. And don't move ahead at others' expense. Now, what does it mean now? Today's challenges are different. They aren't about saturation. We've proved over time that saturation is a myth.
Have you, though?
Where's the proof?
Cite your sources.
Today's challenges are about regeneration. The wood pile is still abundant, but we need to actively tend the fire again. Some have stopped feeding it, waiting for others to take responsibility. Others have moved too close, focusing only on their immediate warmth. In 2025, the code of the campfire means being the first to add wood when the fire dims, the first to make space when someone new approaches, and the first to demonstrate abundance when others whisper about scarcity. The fire isn't diminishing because there's less wood. It's diminishing because fewer people are actively tending it. So be a fire tender.
That's probably because your top leaders recently left. Like, there's nobody leading the fire because they all fucking jumped ship when you started making changes earlier this year.
I'm out. Well, I can still send at least one kid to college.
But that's just allegedly.
Not a warmth hoarder. And here's how to be a fire tender. Set goals and plans to defend and promote the Scentsy fire every day. You have new stories to tell. From the rebrand, the decor line strategy, the digital first catalog.
Okay, let's talk about the decor line strategy really quick because I was unaware of something that was brought to my attention in my last video in the comments. And that is the $60 fucking gingerbread plates that they are introducing. Plates, just plates. They're just plates.
Are they special in some kind of way?
No, they don't cook for you. They don't clean for you. They don't do a damn thing for you. They are seasonal plates that you put out maybe once or twice a year. Gingerbread house and gingerbread man plates. When asked in a comment on their sponsored post, I will post a screenshot here if I can find it.
Unfortunately, I couldn't find it.
Somebody said, I think it was the Canadian pricing, so it was more than $60, but it was like $60 for plates? What do you use them for? And the comment back, the response from Scentsy was, you could use them for cookies. $60, $30 a plate for cookies?
Are they completely mad?
Are they aware of the climate we live in right now? The financial climate we're living in, specifically in the United States. We're fighting for our fucking lives. We're not spending $60 on 2 decorative plates from Scentsy so that you can pay out your middlemen. Nice try, though.
I would say A for effort, but that's enough.
Scentsy candles and promises of other fragrance systems on the horizon. Oh, did you catch that?
What possible fragrance system do you have left? You just put out a candle because you had nothing left. What could you possibly have fucking left to scent.
Tell these stories, support the stories, and treat the act of pouring water on the Scentsy fire a threat to you personally, because it is. The fire will burn brightest when more people are here not only enjoying its warmth, but also feeding the fire with you. Make goals and plans to invite 5 people every day to participate in Scentsy in some way. Invite others to amplify your Scentsy story.
He's telling you exactly how to achieve saturation. 5 people a day. You're going to run out of people so fucking quick. Just to put that into perspective, 30 to 31 days a month, 5 people every day of the month, 5 new people every day of the month. So he wants these people to talk to between 150 to 155 people every month, new people. But the saturation isn't a problem.
That math doesn't check out.
If you are a Scentsy consultant currently watching this, keep pissing him off by asking questions, please.
Invite people to enjoy our products. Invite people to refer their friends for free and half-price products. Invite people to join you on your Scentsy journey.
You want to invite people to refer their friends for free and half-price products. However, these individuals who are quote-unquote business owners are not allowed to publicly advertise that because it's against compliance of their own business.
Now, you can't control who accepts those invitations, but you can get better at extending them through practice. I challenge you to wake up every day with the goal, plan, and resolve to extend 5 invitations. Every day. When that becomes easy, make it 10. The secret to success isn't difficult. It is actually so simple, it's easy not to do it. That is how you stoke and tend the fire. Building on what Heidi said last night, the campfire grows when we welcome new people to the circle while honoring those who've been keeping the flame alive for a while. That Fibonacci spiral teaches us that growth comes not from replacing the old with the new, but from adding the new to the old in perfect proportion. This is how we move from individual success to collective renewal. By understanding that our personal growth and our community's growth are inseparably connected. Now, the third pillar is row together.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Here's the synopsis. At Leadership Retreat last January, Heidi and I talked about swing. It's that magical moment when a rowing crew rows in such perfect unison that individual effort transcends into collective power. True championship teams aren't made of perfect individuals, but of imperfect people perfectly synchronized. Now, last January, when we talked about this, the concept was we talked about this concept when our unity was being tested. The metaphor taught us that every rower matters, but success comes only when everyone adjusts to the rhythm of the boat rather than rowing their own race.
Wouldn't you be rowing your own race if it was your own business, though? So again, this is so contradictory and hypocritical to say this because you're continuously telling these people that it's their own business. And then you're telling them that they have to work as a team and they have to check on their teams and they have to do this as a team and they have to be working together and let other people join the fire in their own business. I still can't wrap my head around that. Even as somebody who has left, was in Scentsy for about 4 years, I fed into this. And now, even after all that time in and being in other MLMs, I haven't been in an MLM since 2018, I think. And I still can't wrap my head around how anyone believes that this is their own business.
Which may sound hypocritical, I know.
And I know I believed it for a little while. But to go 10 plus years believing you own your own business when you're constantly told these types of things and not being like, well, I thought this was my business. What's going on? It's just mind-blowing to me. And I get it. sense. I do, but I still don't get it, if that makes sense.
Nope, not even a little bit.
I hope it makes sense. I'm not trying to offend anybody who's in, because I know that the people who fall for these MLMs, like myself, are essentially victims to the business model and to the bullshit that they tell us. So I guess for a certain amount of time, you have to believe this stuff. But for 10 plus years, I just don't know. I don't know.
And that is critically important to trust in each other completely. When we trust each other, we row together, and we listen to the coxswain who steers the boat and sets the pace.
Which should be you in your own business.
We will find swing. Swing requires one team mentality over individual ambition, seamless alignment with shared goals, mind in the boat. This means blocking out distractions and focusing on our collective purpose. Each person pulling their own weight while supporting others. Now, finding swing means recognizing that the resistance we're facing, economic challenges, industry criticism, market changes, that's not our enemy. That's the water that supports our boat. Today's swing requires leaders who model head power as well as hand power. You can't just work harder, you must think more strategically. You can't just push your team, you must align with the home office's training and support systems. The boats that are winning right now are those where leaders have stopped trying to row in their own boats with their own paddles and started working in rhythm with the larger crew. They've embraced systems over heroics, teamwork over individualism, and long-term building over short-term gains. Set goals and plans to connect to and develop from the training and programs offered at Scentsy. Open your Scentsy Connect app by a certain time every day and complete the task suggested. You get to choose the time. If your business is small and you aren't making much money yet, your task list will be small. But as you invite more people and your task list grows, your income will soon follow. So it will be important to keep up with your tasks. Small things done consistently over time will have a much larger impact on your income than big things done sporadically. If everyone here does this, we will achieve swing. Remember, we're not in a race with a finish line. We're in a cycle of growth, challenge, renewal, and growth again. Each cycle makes us stronger, wiser, and more resilient. And remember, we're not in competing boats. We're in the same boat.
No, you're in the same boat competing for the same thing, though. You might be not in competing boats, but you're in the same fucking boat trying to stay afloat and hitting each other with oars.
Straight up crazy bitch fight.
I don't think that would be happening, but you never know.
We have to work together. Now, the fourth pillar is prune to bloom. Here's the synopsis. In 2015, I talked about trees. Who do you think taught you to smoke trees? Anybody knows me? I love gardening.
Oh, me too.
I love geeking out about permaculture. Compost is my favorite thing.
I'm worried we aren't talking about the same thing.
I have mountains of it that I love. By the way, I want to be composted, not buried. So I've told my kids this many times. I'll prepare the compost, put me in it. A few weeks later, sift out my crowns and metal teeth and use that soil to plant something good. So that's the way I want to go out of this world. Think about it.
What a god. He really thinks so highly of himself.
You've got
Why did we have heart glasses, rose color heart glasses inside?
billion organisms keeping you alive. The last thing you should do when you die is pump yourself full of poison to kill them all. Just saying, give them a chance.
Are you unwell?
That's an entirely different story for another day. We can talk if you believe in that dust to dust thing like I do. So, I look at Scentsy as a sheltering tree. that protects and nurtures you all.
That was so fucking disturbing. I'm not going to lie. That was disturbing.
As you grow and transform. The tree analogy taught us that growth requires pruning. You need to make space for the best by removing the good. True renewal comes not from adding more, but from removing what no longer serves your highest purpose. Heidi mentioned that we have lost some people, and that's the kind of pruning that hurts. But it will give more room to grow for those who join and stay.
Yeah, because here is what happens when a top leader leaves, which is what happened when they had a boost in people who got promotions, making it look like there's a lot of success happening. So when a leader leaves, their entire team doesn't just fall off, it gets transferred to somebody else. So somebody else next in line for that team, whether it's the person's higher up that was above them on the pyramid-like structure or a person in their recruitment lineup, somebody is getting all of their team members. So when the people like Jennifer Anderson leave and go to pharmacy or go anywhere else, those team members that they have recruited and built up, if they don't also leave, they will just go to a different consultant, giving that consultant the numbers that they need to promote. So it will make Scentsy look like they're doing great and growing and consultants are growing and thriving. But actually it's because they just had a mass exodus of top leaders. Allegedly, of course.
Now, back in 2015, we learned that trees, like businesses and people, must go through seasons. The painful winter of pruning is what makes spring and new growth and fruit possible. We saw this on our own journey. Difficult decisions back then to discontinue Grace Adele and Velada and refocus our energy on turning Scentsy into the world's best fragrance company was a serious prune.
If you're not familiar, Velada is another MLM that it was like under their Scentsy umbrella. They had two other MLM companies, Grace Adele and Velada. Grace Adele was bags, like Vera Bradley type bags, I believe, if I remember correctly. That was before I joined Scentsy, so I was never part of Grace Adele. I was part of Velada for a very short time because they went out of business, like he said. That was Scentsy warmers for food, so for fondue. So they had the Scentsy warmer concept going on, but the dish that went on top was a silicone material that was safe for food use, and they sold cheese and chocolate to put in these fondue warmers. They had a bunch of other things as well, but it was just like it was not a business full of products that were meant to last.
Principle was clear. We must constantly exchange bad for good, good for better, and better for best. Now, 10 years later, pruning isn't about cutting off entire brands. It's about cutting away the activities, attitudes, and approaches that prevent us from reaching our full potential. What needs pruning in your business? Perhaps it's time spent on social media drama instead of customer service.
Yeah, Orville. Spend less time on the social media drama. You seem to consume it the most of anybody, I feel like.
Maybe it's energy invested in competing with other consultants instead of serving your market.
All of these consultants, Orville, have the same exact market, and you can't say otherwise with the way technology is. They are competing with the same consultants to tell people to go to their PWS that they pay for monthly, by the way, to keep up so that they could get online orders from their customers. They are all competing to get those clicks. So you're essentially just telling them you're spending energy on doing this when you should be spending energy on doing that, because that is actually what they need to compete with other consultants in order to get to the top of this pyramid-like business model. Otherwise, they're gonna fall off.
Maybe it's focus on what others aren't doing instead of on what you have in your control. Maybe it's pursuit of quick promotions instead of building strong foundations. You need to prune so that you can become
a strong foundation, in my opinion, because I have to say it, will never be built in a multi-level marketing company. Ever, ever, ever.
Never, ever, ever.
Specifically because your business, your team, your income can get ripped from you in the blink of an eye without you having a say at all. Look at Body. Look at Stella and Dot from way back. Oh, God, I forget when that happened. Beauty Counter. There's a whole bunch of these MLMs that the CEOs or whatever decide they're going to close, and you guys have no time to figure out what to do. That's what can happen in these businesses. So no, there is no strong foundation in any MLM business.
beautiful. Pruning so you can bloom is intentional. It just doesn't happen. To make time for setting goals, making plans, and doing the work necessary for essential personal and business growth, replace things that hold you back with things that help you grow. You can't control others, but you can control yourself. Here's my ask. Replace 10 minutes of scrolling with 10 minutes of personal development. Just start there. Start with a training tab on your workstation. When you've consumed all of that content, then you can ask your leaders for books that you can read together as a team.
Yes, because you must stay within the cult-approved material. You cannot venture outside of the cult-approved material. Allegedly, in my opinion.
How do you know when you are ready for more training? Every time you find yourself scrolling.
No. Scrolling can, in fact, sometimes, not all the time, don't be scrolling 24/7. It can sometimes be a way to unwind. You don't constantly need to be in a state of self-improvement and learning. That is exhausting, and you will very quickly burn yourself out.
Train yourself, create a system, make a plan, promise yourself, do whatever it takes, that every time you find yourself doom scrolling, that is a trigger to open your training tab and learn something. Pruning out unproductive behaviors will give time and space for your life to bloom. The consultants experiencing renewal right now are those who've pruned away the distractions and returned to fundamentals.
The fundamentals are excellent customer service, consistent sales and recruiting, and personal development. Consistent sales and recruiting, insinuating that potentially you cannot find success within Scentsy unless you are both having consistent sales and recruiting, not just consistent sales. They are also recruiting.
Excellent customer service, consistent invitations to buy, host, or join, and consistent personal development. Remember, pruning always hurts in the moment, but it's the only path to bloom. Those 4 pillars contribute more than you take. The code of the campfire, rowing together, and pruning to bloom aren't separate concepts. They're interconnected aspects of the same truth. Sustainable success comes from contributing more than we take, believing in abundance rather than scarcity, working together rather than competing, and constantly refining our focus on what matters most. Gratitude shifts us from expectation to awareness. It opens our eyes to connection, moves us from isolation to service, and reveals that we're here not to consume, but to contribute. This is Heidi's Fibonacci spiral. It's what makes us golden as a community. When we live with gratitude, purpose stops being something we search for and becomes something we live. Live with gratitude and find your purpose. The code of the campfire teaches us to be fire tenders instead of warmth hoarders. A warmth hoarder waits for the fire to burn brighter. A fire tender gathers wood, makes space, and invites others in. One protects their own needs and comfort. The other creates community. If you want to lead, don't guard the heat. Grow the flame. Be a fire tender. Rowing together reminds us that we're not in competing boats. We're in the same boat. Swing is our goal, and it happens when we row in rhythm, not when we row harder. Stay focused, trust your crew, and match the pace. When we move as one, we don't just go faster, we go farther, together. We don't have to be perfect, we have to be united.
He's trying to be fucking Buddha out here. Ugh, he had a few more inspirational quotes. Oh my God. He had a bunch of inspirational quotes to share for the last 3 minutes, and I just figured you probably don't want to hear that bullshit. And I also just closed my fucking computer like a moron. My audio records to my computer, and when I close my computer, it turns off. So that's the kind of day I'm having. I hope this video doesn't suck ass. I am sorry if this video was ass. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling. As always, thanks for hanging out with me while I talk a bunch of shit, and I will see you in the next one.